Let me say a special good morning to the Tri-Island. Let's say good morning to Grenada, our mainland, Carriacou and PT Martinique. Good morning, that's our sister isles. So what everybody doing this morning? Hope all is well. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. Today being Wednesday, the 19th day of April. Good morning, everyone, once again. Let me say good morning to our listeners this morning. Those of you via Classic 105.5, Classic 105.9. Those of you who are viewing GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, or Channels 20, good morning to you. Welcome to The Point this morning once again. And I will be in trouble if I don't mention our social media audience this morning. Those of you via our Facebook page, YouTube channels, good morning. And those of you viewing and listening via, of course, GBN's webpage, gbn.gd, good morning and welcome to another edition once again of To The Point. To meet me this morning, I do have a guest with me this morning, is Mr. Deryck. Is it... I knew I was going to mess up on the name, I knew I was going to do that. But let's start it off with Mr. Deryck. I'll let you do the final introduction of yourself. Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing? Good morning. Good. Name again.
Oh, my name is Deryck Ramkhelawan.
Deryck Ramkhelawan. I promise I was not going to mess up on it, but me and names, man, it's just that bad. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome to The Point this morning. Happy to have you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ramkhelawan, I'm getting it right, is with the, of course, the Project Oversight Committee of the Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation. And this morning, we're here to discuss lots of stuff this morning. Of course, I guess folks may have been driving around, noticed, and even hearing of some of the projects that the ministry has been getting into and so forth. And things have been done in terms of the overall, beautification and safeguarding of the environment and so forth here in Grenada. To kick things off, you of course, you is the environmental health officer, all right? Give us a little insight about your role before we get into the overall questioning of you this morning in terms of what we're here to discuss.
All right. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to the listeners.
So you can simply refer to me as GT. I'm good at that.
Okay, GT. Thank you. All right. So I am representing the Ministry of Health on the Project Oversight Committee. I'm a senior environmental health officer with the Ministry of Health. Right. And I was assigned the task to perform these functions in terms of coordinating and provide support to MIT in execution of the whole beautification project. As an environmental health officer, our role is basically to preventative health care. Prevent things from happening before it escalates and affect persons' lives in terms of illness and their health and so on. So we look at the necessary environmental challenges that could affect, persons' health out there, basically.
Okay. So, I asked you this question because folks will say MIT and stuff and take, how does the Ministry of the Health Officer fit into this? You understand? How does it fit into this?
Right. Regarding the fitting in the whole project, the removal of derelict vehicles and identification of derelict vehicles, they are environmental concerns. And under the Waste Management Act, the enforcing officers are the environmental health officer and the police officer.
Okay.
So that's how we got engaged in the whole process.
Okay. Let's take a short break and we come right back. We do have another guest that will be joining us. So let's take that break and certainly we'll come back and certainly entertain him. We'll get him sitting a wee bit and come back with more of the conversation this morning. We're coming right back, folks. Stay with us.
Customers and experts have tested Dormer's high-impact windows and realized just how durable they are. Forget burglar-proofing. Get 20 years warranty on frames, sea blast resistance, no rust or corrosion, and value for your money. Visit Caribbean Shutters, Windows and Doors for Dormer's quality UPVC solutions.
Do you know, when you play the games of the National Lotteries Authority, you are supporting sports, culture, and nation building in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique?
Hi, I am Junior Murray, cricket coach, sports enthusiast, and a former West Indies cricketer. I endorse the games of the NLA 100%. For the past 40 years, the NLA has been funding many sporting activities, including competition for schools and clubs, and for athletes to participate in overseas tournaments such as the Carifta Games and regional cricket tournaments. Additionally, they made it possible for you, the public, to view local, regional, and international tournaments from the comfort of your homes. For those reasons, I play the game of the NLA. Even if I do not win, I know Grenada always wins.
Yes, when you play all the games, the NLA in turn supports sports, culture, and nation-building activities throughout the Tri-Island state.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to The Point for today. It's Wednesday, the 19th day of April, and you can see, for especially those of you who are viewing, I did mention that we're going to have another guest joining us this morning, and let me just get an introduction from this morning. Good morning to you, sir. We have with us this morning Minister Andy Williams with us this morning, Minister of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome to The Point this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
All right. Well, happy to have you here on the show this morning, and it's a pleasure to have you, as always, and certainly your ball as well.
Yes, it is. It is.
Great. Well, myself and, of course, so there we kicked off the conversation this morning because we're talking about, the process of things that are taking place within the Ministry of Implementation, the various projects, and him being part of the Project Oversight Committee, and him being part of, who is, of course, the Environmental Health Officer within the Ministry of Health. Yeah. And we was actually starting the conversation talking how he fits into this. You understand? And of course, we want to continue with him, and soon as we getting and have a conversation with you, sir, in just a moment. Now, you were speaking when you before we had to take the break to get Minister, of course, Williams in, and you were saying that you're part of getting into this is because of the health condition that prevails itself. You understand, in terms of the Deryck vehicles, there are probably conditions where individuals, are conditions within when these things are removed, the various health problems that can occur and so forth. Give us a continuation of that. Let's move along with that.
Okay, so while we are out there performing the functions of removing vehicles and so on, we come across a lot of environmental concerns, things like illegal dumping, the rodent infestation around the area where we observe derelict vehicles. You may observe things like blocked drainage and so on. That can result, we have heavy rainfall, garbage in drain could block drains, and it could result in a backflow and having flooding and so on, which could result in waterborne diseases, all right, and other injuries and so on. The other issue is, like, for example, derelict vehicles attracts person doing a lot of illegal things in it. It could be dumping of garbage in it, which could provide harborage and breeding grounds for both mosquitoes and rodents. And when I speak about rodents, not only rats, but mongoose.
Exactly.
And mongoose.
And we seem to be having a bit of infestation with that right now.
Mongoose, yes, because mongoose, in Grenada, there isn't a predator for mongoose. So once they reproduce, the population keep increasing. And mongoose spread one of the most dangerous diseases it have, which is rabies. Yeah. If you're exposed and you contract rabies, there is 100% chance that you are going to die.
All right.
So early intervention and so on, there is a vaccination program for rabies. There's a procedure that would have to be instituted or activated by the casualty department.
Now tell me, there's this particular appeal, I'm assuming that you being part of the team that is going around to the public in terms of supporting and complying and assisting in reporting and the proper removal of vehicles. Tell us about that.
Well, what we want to appeal to the public is that there are persons that are abandoning vehicles on the side of the road. If you drive around Grenada, we have done an assessment through the Solid Waste Authority, and there's approximately 14,000 derelict vehicles that we have to, get rid of from the state. When you go there, there are times that persons say they need the vehicle, but this vehicle has been there for 10 or more years, starting to decompose, rotten, and they still indicate that they need it. I'm not doubting that fact, but if you need the vehicle, you need to provide a space on your property to ensure that it is stored safely and to eliminate those public health concerns that are a threat to human health and human lives out there.
Have you been getting the individuals to comply as you would like to?
I would say from a 80 85% compliance, yes, but there are those areas that are still a little gray that we are working on. For example, like garages on the side of the road and so on. So these are some gray areas we are working on to ensure that we have a 100% compliance aspect of it.
All right. Let's go to Minister Williams this morning, and once again, welcome. I know you've been sitting back and absorbing as much as you possibly can.
Yes.
Now, you got into the Ministry of Implementation, if I could simply put it, just the MIT Ministry. How has it been thus far for you in terms of the overall project that you've been overseeing, and especially the project in terms of the Deryck removal and beautification projects? How has it been going so far for you?
Well, first of all, let me just say that good morning to your listeners. Good morning to Grenada, and thank you for having us here at GBN. And this all came about because of us seeing the state of which the country was in terms of the garbage, And listen, I mean, my offices was in the ministerial complex, and every day I have to pass by the lagoon, going in and out. And just looking at the lagoon road alone, it kind of gave me a conviction to, Andy, let's start to do this.
All right.
Right? And in doing that, we had a team, which was from the Ministry of Health, Infrastructure, Tourism, Chamber and Commerce, Greater Solid Waste Authority, Ministry, And so we brought a team together because sometimes in government, when you want to do something, you need input from various ministries. So instead of us having to go to this ministry today, another one tomorrow, we brought everyone together.
So you kind of pool individual from the various ministries.
That's it.
All right.
And that is mobilization.
All right.
Right?
All right.
So, right. So then now we came together and we identified certain areas that needed intervention in terms of the beautification and so. The lagoon was one, and the Deryck vehicles was another. And we will have weekly meetings where we will come together and plan how we will go about, doing this and really beautifying the country as a whole.
All right.
So it has been a joy working with Mr. Ram and all the other ministries, and we are really committed because what we realize is that in the past, government will start. For example, the Deryck vehicles was started, that process was started already, I think it was in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, or 2022.
No, about 2019.
But 2019. Right. So it was started, and then, there was a whole up.
Yeah.
But we decided to go full
force into it in terms of the removal and actually getting the job done.
That's it. No, and I'm proud to say that thus far, from since October last year to now, we have picked up over 500 Deryck vehicles in 47 different communities within the parishes of St. George's, St. David's, St. Mark's. Right? And that is just the start. We have gone through communities like Dusty Highway, Montu, Frequented, Callis, Belmont, Golf Course, River Road, Mardi Gras, Monjalo, Calivini, Willis, right? And the aim is to go through the length and breadth of Grenada to get the Deryck vehicles off. And let me just say this. About 3 weeks ago, we had a fire, I don't think most people knew about it, in Monjalo, close to the towers. And a young lady was telling us that, listen, about 2 days before, we had 2 vehicles parked right there.
So which could have caused a hindrance for the fire truck?
That's it.
You understand?
That's it, because fortunately the fire truck was able to go and pass through and order the fire immediately. So no one really knew about the whole thing. But if the fire truck wasn't able to pass, it could have been a totally different story. Right?
All right. So tell me, where do we go from here with this now? The cleanup process has started with the Deryck vehicles being removed. We see the beautification, of course, of the Tagrani James Boulevard. What is the aim of the ministry in terms of this overall project?
Well, we want to get the private sector involved. We want to get the youths involved also, because we cannot be talking transformation and not include the youth of this country. So the idea, recently we approached TAMCC, and we identified 11 different areas: James Boulevard, Grenville Bus Terminal, Bathway Beach area, the Carnage, River Road, Port Highway, Liver, Wetland, just to name a few. And these students will be responsible to come up with a design to transform the area.
All right.
The plan is to, when we get those designs, we are going to make it an annual competition where someone will win, and we will get members of the public to come in and judge, right? Yeah. Now, what we did, we brought a submission to cabinet, and we have some prizes. So we are going to give everyone a prize. But the winner, well, let me just say that there will be groups of 3 that will be undertaking these projects, these designs. And the cabinet approved 2 weeks ago that the winner will get, the 3 individuals will get full scholarship, right, to further their education in that field, right? So 3 full scholarship will be given on our expense. Okay. And we are looking to make it an annual something, so that if we can get the children at that age to get involved in the transformation process, they can grow up knowing that they have contributed to the development of Grenada. And also we want to get the private sector to buy into it, right? Because when they create the design, someone will have to fund it.
So true.
And everything doesn't have to be on government, but we ourselves can come together and build this country.
All right, interesting.
Yeah.
We drew for a break. Let's take it. We come back and continue the discussion here. It's To The Point for today, Wednesday the 19th, here on the Classic and GBN TV. We're coming right back, folks. Stay with us.
A piece of...
Records at the traffic department shows that a total of 1,447 accidents were reported for the year 2012, which includes 3 road fatalities. 2,946 accidents were reported for the year 2022, which includes 8 road fatalities. This is a significant increase of 104%. This is alarming. When a family tragically loses a loved one, does it matter whether by means of a gun or a motor vehicle? To avoid accidents, drivers and pedestrians alike must exercise extreme caution when using the road.
Hey, welcome back, listeners and viewers this morning. We're here with the Minister of MIT. I think just a simple abbreviation of that, Minister Andy Williams. And we also have Mr. Deryck Ramkhelawan. I'm seeing to always getting that name messed up. Anyway.
Ram is fine.
So we can simplify it to Ram. Let's continue the conversation this morning. Now, there are a lot of individuals, as you spent some time speaking about it in your introduction this morning. But I wanted to if for the viewing and listening public, for their understanding, a bit of a clarification. When you say, how can I put this on? A derelict vehicle. Could you give an explanation on that? What is deemed? Because someone may say, I have my vehicle parked by the side of the road. I perceive because it's mine, and I perceive it as good. You understand? When you say derelict, a definition of a derelict vehicle, give us that.
All right. So, by law, in the Waste Management Act, Act 16 of 2001, in the definition, A derelict vehicle means any abandoned or discarded motor vehicle, or I want people to note the terms abandoned or discarded motor vehicle, or any motor vehicle left in a public space which is in such a dilapidated condition that it cannot be safely used for the purpose of transportation.
Okay.
Now, when we say abandoned or left in public space, vehicles that have not been licensed for some years show signs of decomposition. All right, vehicles that are not, well, if they're not licensed, obviously they wouldn't be insured.
Yeah.
So if something is to happen with someone, who are you going to claim? They would not. Sometimes, in most cases, people remove the numbers and just have them there. All right, so that vehicle is considered an abandoned
But
vehicle.
there's a time factor it goes into the being deemed a derelict vehicle. So if someone has a vehicle there for the last 6 months minimum, we're talking about, could that also be deemed as derelict?
It depends on the condition. An
Condition.
assessment would have to be done, either by the environmental health officer or the police officer.
All right.
Also, those vehicles that are placed in public space and are left there, as Minister Andy indicated, they create obstruction, right, for the movement of emergency services. Not only the fire department, but you also look at other emergency services. For example, the garbage collection.
Yep.
All right, the ambulance, street cleaning, contractors.
Yep.
They all provide vital service to our nation to ensure that we reduce the risk of disease to public health.
All right. Now, environmental health. Where did the environmental health concern, or what can be caused by a derelict vehicle? Where does the environmental health concern comes into this?
There are many. I think I indicated some of them. But
You did mention some.
Yeah, I will go through them. There's a few points I have here. Number one, they create breeding grounds for vectors. And when we talk about vectors, we speak about mosquitoes. People dump garbage in them. They have water collecting containers that may breed mosquito during the rainy season. Rodents and mongoose. And as a result, when you have these within the environment, you are exposed to the risk of dengue fever, leptospirosis, and rabies. All right, as I indicated before, rabies is a 100% fatal disease. Once you contract rabies, you're basically dead. Leptospirosis, there is a 10% case fatality rate. So 1 in every 10 person would die. All right, it could be because of other underlying conditions and so on. But these diseases do have mortality rates affixed to them. The risk of injuries to children. All right, children are attracted to derelict vehicles. They play within the community. These vehicles are within the community. Therefore, the community cannot be used for its intended purpose because of the accumulation of derelict vehicles. And children can be exposed to diseases from that, like tetanus.
Yes.
All right. The leakage of hazardous waste material into the environment. For example, there is waste oil, there is lead from batteries, mercury, fuels, acids, copper, ozone depleting substance, the AC gas.
Yes.
All right.
Depending on the age of that particular vehicle.
Exactly. All right. When we talk about pollution of the environment, we're not just talking about land. We are also speaking about air and water. Now, you might want to know why water or the marine environment. When these elements get into the marine environment or our water bodies, where do we get some of our food from? The marine environment. And when these dangerous elements get into the marine environment, it is consumed by products that we consume, for example, fish. All right, so these fish would have elevated levels, let's say mercury or lead or some other thing. They accumulate, they bioaccumulate, and we feed back in. So it gets back right into our body and interact with different tissues within our body. So it becomes a toxicant.
And then we wonder why we're having those health concerns now.
Right, and like cancers and so on, within our population. It also encourages littering, all right, which is unsightly within a community. Right, and accumulation of garbage. It also show unsightliness, poor aesthetics within a community. All right, and that is why one of the reasons we are trying to eliminate that aspect. So if we eliminate those, we would be eliminated some of the risk to human health. Not only human health, but animals also. because animals are exposed to the same thing humans are exposed to, and we also depend on meat.
So true.
Chicken, beef, pork, whatever. So it accumulates in the animal kingdom also, and we consume them as food. So it's from both, in fact, it's plants, animals, and fish. That is basically what we consume.
All right.
All right. Also, Minister Andy, you mentioned before obstruction and movement of emergency services. I wouldn't get into that again. And more importantly, complaints from the community. Our ministry, our department are bombarded, not only today, but over the years leading to this date, about the abandonment of vehicle and derelict vehicle in communities and so on. All right, that is hindering movement within the community and the proper use of that that community space, for example, playgrounds and so on. And basically, derelict vehicle, well, as I indicated, complaints and derelict vehicles are used, for deposit in garages also. Garages take a lot of vehicles that they cannot fix and get out on time. So in other words, they park it on the side of the road, they keep accumulating them, which also hinders movement in the community.
Let's spend a little time talking about the tagging process, because for the benefit of the listeners and the viewers out there, so one might come home one day and they see their vehicle been tagged and it's tagged by the ministry or the Ministry of Health per se. What is that process that leads to the tagging?
Well, firstly, it's a team approach. All right, we have MIT, we have Ministry of Health, we have the Royal Grenada Police Force Traffic Department, we have the Physical Planning Unit, we have Ministry of Infrastructure, and Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority, because they are the ones have to manage solid waste in the country. So what we normally do is that we prepare a schedule. It's published, all right, in the various areas we will be going. All members, all right, of that committee are notified and are provided with the schedule, so we know what dates we are going out, all right, and the process. So what we normally do is place those derelict stickers on those vehicles that we have identified within those community, all right, that are in public space, and those vehicles that meet the definition by law.
Okay.
All right. The environmental health officer and the police officer are the only two persons authorized under the law to place those stickers on the vehicle.
Okay.
All right. Once we place those stickers on the vehicle, we take a photo of the location of the vehicle, a photo of the vehicle after we have affixed the sticker. We normally take a GPS location also. And the reason why we take the picture with those, because people normally remove those stickers. And this is one section of the law that we need to amend, the Waste Management Act, because removal of a sticker is an offense. We would want it to be an offense, because there's a lot of people complain to us at times, oh, no sticker wasn't placed in the vehicle, you all moved the vehicle. But when we could have showed them or WhatsApp them a photo with the sticker on it, you don't hear no complaints after.
I understand that. So let me also get into this. No, there's a problem in Grenada where individuals will do these things and the ministry goes through the process of what you're doing now, and then we see a repeat of it again. So that's where enforcement comes in now.
Yes.
I'm not sure if the minister would like to answer on that, or you would like to take up on it, but the enforcement process that would take place in terms of this. Would individual get themselves into problems? Speaking in simple terms, would the individual get themselves in problems if you remove and for some reason vehicles are returned, if you say, okay, I have a place I can put it. You understand? You were tagged and you said, well, I have somewhere that I can put that vehicle. In a couple of months, you see it returned. We live here in Grenada. We know the process of how things are done sometimes. Someone move it for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and then you see it return again. And the whole, that condition that prevailed before, you see it comes back again. Right. What is the ministry planning to do in terms of making sure that these things does not reoccur again?
Okay, so the law makes provisions for that. Now, once a vehicle, a sticker is placed on the vehicle, persons have 7 days in which to remove it from that area and secure it on their premises or at a secure location. All right, persons also, if they have not done that and it is being removed by solid waste, they also have 7 days in which to recover that vehicle. Now, there's a process for recovery. First of all, they would have to contact the traffic department and get the necessary piece of paper from traffic department to say that show proof of ownership of that vehicle, because we have had persons come to us, not to us, but to solid waste, and claiming vehicle that does not belong to them. So we have instituted that aspect. All right, you need to show proof of ownership of that vehicle. There is an assessment that have to be done by the Ministry of Health, Environmental Health Department to see where, if you are recommended to get back this vehicle, where are you going to put in it? We're not going to recommend that you carry it back and put it there to create the same nuisance. It have to be within a secure location on your premises or in a licensed garage, whatever the case.
And even if it's been returned to your premises, is it causing any health concern being at your premises? Are those things taken into consideration?
Yes,
also?
all of that are part of the assessment. If the vehicle is in a dilapidated condition, we would reason with that individual and show them the dangers and try to reason with them to ensure that if they need any particular important part or anything, they can recover it. And there's still a fee from the Solid Waste Authority. If you want to recover a vehicle, there's a fee of $500 that needs to be paid. Okay. And then you would have to get your own transport to come and uplift it from where it's located.
Where it's located. Yeah. Okay, great. Now, Mr. I'm not sure if you want to chime in on this, say anything.
Yeah, because let me just make a point too, that we want to really start enforcing the Litter Act.
Yeah.
It's something that is there on the books, but we don't have people really enforcing it. And so part of the process is not just the cleaning up, but start penalizing people for littering. And we have a really serious problem in Grenada when it comes to littering. Just last weekend, we cleaned opposite, after Excel Plaza.
Yeah.
There's a plot of land there. You'll be surprised of the amount of garbage that you had there. Just after Wall Street or New York Bagels, we cleaned up our plot of land there again, and we cut down the trees and so. And the amount of garbage that was there, it was not funny. The bus stop by CK's last weekend, we cleaned there again, and you will be surprised as to the amount of garbage that's there. No one, I will agree that we have to provide more bins.
Yes.
Right, in specific places that are prone to garbage, number one. But number two, people have to start taking ownership of this thing. The country is ours, and it is in our best interest to dispose of our garbage properly. In addition to that, that is on the land, but we also have to tackle the marine part of it.
Yes.
If you look in the same lagoon area, you will see boats and so in the lagoon that are sinking. Right? There's one that it's in the bottom, and all you see on top is just the sail and so on top. We have to get rid of that. Also, you have cases like in Woburn and Chublu, where people come with their yachts and so, and they dock there, and they dispose of their waste directly into the sea. And that destroys the reef and so. So basically, you have where our natural resources now are being destroyed because of that. So it's a holistic approach, both the land, the sea, but in general, we need people to be, more aware of it and try, not just wait until we get involved to do it, but take ownership of your community, your area, and stop people from littering. Because at the end of the day, it will just devalue our communities.
Another question I want to get at, both you, of course, Mr. Ram and Minister Williams, I don't know if both of you could chime in on this. It's becoming a concern, especially for areas around where we see people are just throwing up, properties, if you're going to put it out, buildings, areas for different purposes. Some have, barber shops, some have, roadside garages. We see different things are happening in different areas around the island. What is it a concern to the ministry and the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Mobilization? Is it a concern?
First of all, let me take this question. This is a serious concern for us. For these type of activities to happen directly, yes, it poses health challenges to our department. We try to work as closely as possible with physical planning unit because they are the enforcing agency to have people, they can issue them a stop notice if they are set up illegal operations, within government or public space. All right, so we try to work as closely as possible with them to have these matters resolved. I know there are challenges also in physical planning. They would be here on another forum. Maybe they can answer that question directly in that regard. But yes, it's a concern because especially along the riverside, when people set up and so on, they tend to empty their garbage in the rivers, which would affect not only the flora and fauna of that river, but it also ends up into the marine environment, into the sea, which can damage coral reef, and we know the benefits of coral reef and so on, and contaminate, water bodies. Let's look at the Great River Day by River Road, right?
That's my hometown anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
When those garbage and those elements and those heavy metals and everything get into that, it gets into the marine environment. People swim, they accidentally swallow, they become infected, their levels of certain thing increase in their body, and you have the introduction of disease at a younger age.
Yes.
Right, and we are wondering why we are seeing these things, and it's because of our actions. We need to look holistically as an individual or as a citizen to see where we can help contribute in reducing risk to our population.
Now, what sort of advice would you like to throw to individuals who are getting themselves involved in these issues?
I would want to say, first of all, for any little, yes, I know persons are struggling to make ends meet and so on, but there are procedures for that. First of all, you need to contact physical planning or the Ministry of Works to ensure that an assessment is given and permission is granted for you to operate in that area, in which we can outline certain conditions in which you will operate to reduce those kind of those risks that particular operation may create.
All right. Minister, I'm not sure if you want to chime in anything on that.
Yeah, so let me just make this point. Sometimes when people go out to, they may go out on the street to sell and to earn a living, it's all well and good, because at the end of the day, that person is not sitting down home and waiting for a handout. They're actually going out to get it, and we have to encourage that. However, it has to be done in the proper way, right? And let me explain why. Let's say someone is selling food, and they set up somewhere, and they have no toilet facility there. When that person wants to maybe do a number or whatever it is, where do they go?
Exactly.
Right? Listen, I've known about of cases where people will go to the bush, do what they do, and come back. And then
sanitation is no minimal.
That's the point.
You understand?
So you are saying let the man do his thing because he has to eat a food, no problem. But he may be eating a food at the expense of your health. Yeah. Right? Now you get sick, you go in the hospital, food poisoning, and it could go downhill from there. So we have to ensure that although we want to encourage people to do their thing, it has to be done in the proper way, so that you can be protected, and even they can be protected and have their business be something that is more sustainable also. And that is the importance of it.
Because I said this, you mentioned that it brought an idea come to mind. Let's look, for example, in the road area where the River Road project was taking place on the wall we built, and we see these structures we built there now. The roadside garage, and so forth. I'm seeing now a hairdresser that has been put up and so forth. People being there, and as you said, a particular number occurs to the wall. What does it happen? What happens?
So again,
people being there doing their stuff, who doing whatever work they're getting involved in, and a number occurs. How do they manage that? So do you have any concerns about that?
But let me just make that point. Let me just add to that point, because in the lagoon, the boulevard, right, other places too, you have cases where people were living there and
made it their home.
No toilet facility. So what do you think, I'm not saying anything, but what do you think will take place when they want to do a number, a one or a number two? And we have seen cases where people had the toilets set up to the whole thing, and when they flush it, go right into the sea, right there, untreated. So this is what we are dealing with. And imagine you will take care of family, you will, whatever it is, you will go, you will fish here, you will bathe there, you know. So I'm saying these are the things we have to really look at. It may look simple, and it might say, you know what, you are taking someone home away from them or a brother away from them, but we have to look at the health aspect of it. And let me just use this opportunity to say that the people in the Lagoon Road, who are the Boulevard, who we had to move from there, we got jobs for them. We got a better place for them to stay. Right now we are working with one individual to see how we can assist him in building his own house on his family's property. Right? And this is where we want to go. Not just move them away, but even the Soupmaster area too. What we have done, we demolished the structure because we want to put up something better for him. Something with water facility, something with current and so, and also have a nice gazebo there where different people can come and have a little cultural activities there. I just passed on the lagoon this morning, and let me just clear up this misconception that when we put up this poles, it's supposed to keep out people from the lagoon or the QNJ Boulevard, and that is so wrong.
Let's get it correct, because I've been hearing that these was put up to keep people out.
Right, and this is when, listen, and I will say it, since being in government, I've seen journalists making it their duty to spread propaganda. And listen, I will not fight it. I will just keep quiet on it, because at the end of the day, the truth will prevail. And so I heard some journalists talking about we are put this pole there to block out people from the boulevard, and they fought so hard to get all kind of drama. Like, what nonsense is this? If you pass it now, you will see where we had a pole. We have some nice chains on the poles, and you will see there's one that there's no chain on it. That's for the entrance, so you can walk in. The point is that we don't want to do all this work, and people come and drive up on it, as they are doing now, and destroy the lawn and destroy the place.
So it's more before pedestrian use, more or less.
The plan for there is to encourage people to come and enjoy the place, right? And and I want to thank for cleaning the lagoon. I want to thank the team from the Visible Transformation Project. We have people from the private sector who came in and supported us.
Yes.
But the team of the Ministry of Health, Climate Resilience, Solid Waste, Infrastructure, MIT, I want to thank that team for coming together and ensure that this was done, because this was attempted before. As a matter of fact, in 2021, letters were sent out to the people on the QNJ Boulevard so that they can, move out their stuff, and so nothing was done. But only when this team came together, you have some action taking place.
All right. Now, we drew for a break, but I want to ask this questions. Plans for the Port Highway, we see that there are a number of buildings that are put up there. What are the plans the Ministry of MIT have for that?
Well, the port...
I know you're dealing more with the Kirani James for now, and I'm assuming we'll be going to that particular area pretty soon, sooner or later.
Well, the Minister of Infrastructure, who is not the Prime Minister, and we have to do some discussions with regards to the Port Highway and regards to the port, because let me just tell you, our Prime Minister have big plans, and let me say it again, he have big plans, and as infrastructure you can be sure to see things happening, right? And one of the things that we are considering is if the port is in its right place, right? So we have to first consider that. And we may have plans to do otherwise in the future. I'm seeing plans, but we have to sit down and decide what we will do. In the event that the port will remain there, we will have a plan to get rid of the vending booths, but provide somewhere for them, an alternative for them to vend.
So we're not going to see anything in the immediate for now?
We have to, we are in discussions about it now. So it can be in the immediate, it could be in the long term, based on what the plan will be.
All right.
But we will notify the public as to what the plan is. But before we go along, after this program here, I'll be visiting the Grenville Market and the St. George's Market, because we have to deal now with the vendors on the street, right? And I know, again, people are out there because they want to make a living, but we have to do it in an orderly fashion. You have tourists coming here to enjoy the country, and it's a nightmare to, not even just to, even our locals are complaining it's a nightmare to walk in the city. So that is something that we will be dealing with. We have the booths and so in the market, which we have to now open it up and give it to the vendors. And those who remain, we'll have to sit down with them and see how we can assist them in getting a place to sell. But that is a situation where we have to deal with. And as I leave here, I'll be traveling to Grenville and St. George's to see what we can do to better the situation. And Mr. Ram will be coming with me also.
We're due for a break. When we come back, I'm sure there are listeners and viewers out there who may have a question or two they would like to ask you. So we'll probably open the lines also. But let's take a short break and we come back. We should have had a break for the last 15 minutes, but the conversation was going, so I let it go through. Let's take that break and we come back. We'll entertain a couple of calls. Stay with us here on To The Point. We're coming right back after the break.
Stormboard careless or intentional bushfires, dead out. Youths, hunters, smokers, let's prevent bushfires. Here's why.
Yeah, bushfires. The shoreline's wet, crops should be bushfires. Can lead to food scarcity, threatened biodiversity, cause water shortage, water calamity. Bushfires, watersheds deplete, water quality, threaten property, life and security. Bushfires set intentionally, water insanity.
Bushfires can cost millions in losses annually and are often caused by careless or intentional actions indictable under the law. Forests are life-giving. Save them. A message from the Fire Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force and the Caribbean Open Trade Support.
Join us on Caribbean Medical TV as we discuss a topic close to the heart of our Caribbean people and hear the experiences from the leading experts in the region about heart disease, the major contributing factors, what to look for, and why we are seeing heart attacks in younger men and women. Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV right here on this station.
Back with you, listeners and viewers. It's To The Point this morning, and at this segment, I will certainly open the lines. If you have a question or two you would like the Minister or Mr. Ram, surely they will be able to answer. Let's take this caller and see what this caller has to offer. Caller, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, VP, and morning to the Minister, and morning, Mr. Ram. I'm always encouraged when we have that level of conversation. I mean, there's certain things I would like to get in, but I mean, no, it's not the time. But I would say that I'm encouraged that we are trying to reverse the ghettoization of this country. For too long, we have allowed this place to become into a massive ghetto. And part of the problem is the extent of poverty, yes. But we have to ask ourselves, why the poverty was being increasing? And some of us know, and here's not the time to speak. So I think, and even people who think that the Ministry of Implementation doesn't have a role, I think this could demonstrate, because having been around, I know the difficulty for different departments doing things, and they take a collaborative approach. Since in the 80s when I was involved, in the 90s when I was involved from a community development point of view, a lot of things that was spoken about never came to being because there was no the implementation, there was no the framework for it to be done. I want to raise something with Mr. Ramlo, the issue of wastewater, and also waste from like your pig pen, your goat pen, your different places where people are affected, and also the use of insecticides to spray outside. I mean, people's home that polluting and killing people. I've known people who have died. Are we going to do something about that soon? Thank you.
Thank you, caller, also for your contribution there. Anybody want to reply to the caller?
Regarding, yes, let me take that question. Regarding, wastewater disposal, any operation, all right, for it to happen, especially pig rearing, there is a procedure for the setting up of a pig farm or a pig pen. First of all, you can contact the Ministry of Health and we can provide those guidelines and advice in the proper management of pig and their waste. In addition to that, approval would have to be sought from physical planning, where individuals will need to submit a sketch or a drawing for approval. All right, and when that drawing is submitted, Ministry of Health and other agencies have their input. We review those plans and we make recommendations as to the proper management of it. The challenge that we have is that these operations are, taking place within communities, all right, residential communities. Our law, our public health legislation states, 50 feet from a dwelling house. You can set that up. That's law. We can't go against that. I think what we need is a legislative review of our public health laws, to strengthen what we have. And secondly, this is a recommendation. I will mention it for the first time, in front of a policymaker, is that we need zoning, right? Or if we can identify an area where all pig farmers could go, where we provide the necessary services and the services that, for the proper management, where we have water, where we have septic tank or waste disposal facilities or recycling facilities, so this water can be reused within that. And we contain all of those public health problems in one area rather than have it in 40 different areas throughout the island.
I agree.
That's the way we would like to see things go.
Okay, I do have another caller. Let's entertain it. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Hello, good morning, brother. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Williams. Good morning to Mr. Ram, Minister of Health. Calling from Paradise, close to the traffic light. Approaching the traffic light near to the breadfruit tree. There is a big garbage bin there. When the traffic stops right to take the light, everybody just dump the garbage right in the breadfruit tree. If you only take a look over the bridge, you see a whole set of garbage there, which is very nasty, not ugly, nasty. And Mr. Williams, I listened to you on the news last night concerning the traffic light. GBN, thank you very much for taking my point because it is coming true. The traffic light, I want the bridge to let's say, plaster the bridge, paint it up nice in black and white before you put on the light. Clean on the bridge, make a sidewalk so you wouldn't have no grass and no dust on the side there. And let's do something for Paradise for a lot of years. Paradise never gets something nice. I want in front of my door looking good. I want in front of my door to get bright. So when I sit down in my veranda, I'm going to see brightness. And I'm so happy that the light's going to be in order by June month. So next month, May month, which is my month for my birthday, I want something very pretty on the bridge. Promise me, Mr. Williams, you're going to give us something real nice in Paradise. Let Paradise look like Granans. Let it look like town. Because we really don't. We want big bright lighting progress park. We want everything we could think about. No,
Caller, I want to say thank you, caller, because we still struck for time. So thank you so much for your contribution this morning. I'm not sure if anyone will respond to the caller because we do have some more questions we would like to follow through on.
All right. Regarding the garbage situation there, I will have a discussion with Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority. We will do an assessment of that bin and see if it needs to be removed. We'll try as much as possible and clean up the area and place a no dumping sign because, around bins, people are abusing bins these days. And in areas where there is curbside pickup, we would want that to prevail. That would eliminate, this illegal dumping and so on. And let me just correct the caller. I'm not the Minister of Health. The Minister Lacret might be vexed with me, feel that I probably want to take his job over.
I have a question here from someone on WhatsApp who's saying they want to ask the Honourable Minister this and also the Environment Health Officer. And they say they're talking about those blue barrels that we see popping up all over the roadsides and the unsightly, unhealthy, obstructive and the reversal or the removal of by the Solid Waste Management Authority. We're talking about to remove from public bins. They talk about some places they remove the bin, they build structure, the concrete structure, and now they put in those blue barrels. So they wanted understand that households are supposed to manage their waste and their compound on the roadside in terms of getting those curbsides pick up. So they want to know what you think about these blue barrels being popping up around the area.
Now that is becoming a problem, the blue barrels, because if someone put a blue barrel outside there, definitely people, passers-by would utilize those.
They think it's a bin.
They would think it's a bin. I would want to appeal to citizens. Listen to the solid waste program on a daily basis in the mornings, They are curbside pickup in certain areas. They are daily pickup along the main roads throughout the length and breadth of the country. And those areas internal, they are scheduled days for garbage collection. So if you are not aware of your days of collection in a particular area, you can contact the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority on 444-2019 to get yourselves avail with those days of collection.
We could probably go to entertain one more caller and get a couple more questions in that I do have posted for you already. Good morning to you, caller. Welcome.
Well, I'm very happy, Mr. Telesford, to have to be able to bowl the last over. Listen to this. Good morning to you and good morning to your guests. Sitting here, I understand two things coming from the information shared. We have a serious problem with compliance of the laws of this country, and the second thing is that of management within the ministerial systems of this state. Nothing else. Obviously, I have a problem with this new ministry because I don't see the need for a new ministry to get things done in this here country. We have technical people within the established ministries that have been serving us for all these years. And I don't see that as necessary. I see it as an unnecessary repetition, which, I mean, it's just not necessary. But it is there. We have the problem is that the laws of the country must be upheld. The police has all duty, has right and obligations, as a matter of fact, to keep the streets of the country clean and the byways and sidewalks and whatnot. They don't. Get that done. The Ministry of Health has a duty from an environmental standpoint to do whatever. Get it done. Evaluate the people's performance. Get the people to work. I'll end there because it's 9 o'clock. This is what is lacking in this country. But these fellas have no balls to be able to do that. And until we do that, nothing will change in Grenada. But I do wish you all well. Have a nice day, will you, Mr. Telesford, sir?
Thank you.
So
also.
let me respond to that quick, right? Now, let me just say this. Every government needs a Ministry of Implementation. We have the Jamaican government right now who have a Transformation Implementation Unit, TIU, in the Ministry of Finance. And that ministry is a ministry that is there to ensure that government priority projects gets done. Now imagine up to last year, we had World Bank projects that approximated, let's say, $100 million. Over 4.5 years, we only spent 13 million out of 100 million.
Nothing was done.
Nothing was done. Now, when this ministry came into operation, we tackled it straight away. And right now, you have funds being used from those projects. Number one. Number two, there was a project called the UK SIF, which we lost. It was on the books for about 4 to 5 years. We lost $30 million in grant. Grant from the UK, grant, not a loan, grant that we lost. And that project was supposed to really address the water situation. Is a water expansion project, which would have addressed the water situation from Concord throughout the south of the island, which we are suffering for water right now. It was also supposed to address the western main road that we have right now that need repairs. Okay. And the Molyneux was part of it. But that money still on the books. Nothing was done. And when I say nothing was done, there was implementation was lacking. Okay. And because of the UK, when the year started and so last year, they had a case where they were heading into a depression. You know, they decided that they were going to cut back on some of the grants. As a result, they cut back on the UK SIF and we lost it. I tried my best. The Ministry of Infrastructure and the Ministry of MIT, we tried our best to save it, but we had no choice. So I'm saying we need a Ministry of Implementation if we don't have that. And that ministry was there already in I think it was the revolution time with Amsterdam and Sean, yes. Right? We had it with Kenny Lalsing some years ago, right? But we need a Ministry of Implementation in order to work with other ministries to ensure that our projects are implemented on time.
Okay, understandable. We already drew for. We should have already wrapped, but we're probably going to take another 5 minutes if of course, TV manager allows us, and see if we can get this question. This is a question I wanted to ask, of course, Mr. Ram here. In terms of the we talking about, the process of, we told, Deryck tagging. We spoke about that. We talk about the roadside garbage, scrap metal, and the Basel Convention. Tell us about that. Before we take a wrap.
Okay, regarding the Basel Convention, Grenada is now a signatory to the Basel Convention. The focal point for the Basel Convention lies in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, and the competent authority lies within the Ministry of Health. Now, the competent authority is responsible for coordination of the movement of hazardous waste from state to state. All right. So basically, what we are doing is looking at external state who can accept some of these hazardous waste. For example, batteries, oil, acids, and so on. All right. There are special provisions under the Basel Convention how we should be packaged, how we should be shipped. If we have to move it from Grenada, let's say, to South Korea, where we have a market for lead acid batteries. All right, we have to contact those competent authorities in those countries that this boat or where the shipping route is going to be to get their endorsement to say, yes, they're going to allow this to move. And then we do our necessary coordination at a local, regional, and international level to ensure that we remove those risks from our country, or those risks to public health, those risks to our environment, to ensure that we clean up and that it is managed by another state in an environmentally friendly manner, either for recycling purposes or converted to other goods or services.
All right. Now, there's a process of food handlers training and certification. How does that play in there also?
Anyway, this question have to do with the impact of derelict vehicles and so on, and the impact it have on health. So the first thing I would want to say that food handling people choose all kind of different areas to do vending, and they would do it in some areas where you have derelict vehicles there. And as I indicated before, derelict vehicle comes with its set of challenges. Yes. All right, rodents, roaches, you name it, garbage, and so on. So if someone set up in a close proximity to that, you are exposing that to risk. For example, some food trucks and so on, if they're close to derelict vehicle, they'll leave food equipment there, for example, a barbecue grill or something, and food scraps is around the area, obviously they would come out to feed. And this is something we have been seeing. When we remove derelict vehicles, you're removing their breeding grounds or their home. So you see they're running helter-skelter all over the place. It poses a food safety risk, an immediate food safety risk. All right? There are also long-term food safety risk, right? And what we would call public health problems. For example, decomposed vehicles, I indicated this before, they release heavy metals, oil, AC gases, which enters back our food chain and interact with our organs, our different parts of our body, and then 5, 10, 15 years down the line, we are seeing issues relating to neurological problems, circulatory, cancers, you name it, all right? We have these type of challenges that would put a strain on our public health system, and by extension, government is responsible to provide the funding to manage those illnesses, those chronic diseases.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap, I don't know if you want to make a summary of course, what we meant, just a final statement before we take a wrap this morning with both you and Minister Williams.
Okay. Well, to wrap up this, it's a lot. I would say, first of all, we are appealing to the public to let's do what is right. We know, derelict vehicles are posing its fair share of challenges for us. Help us to help you, and help us to help the nation. All right, and having these risks removed from the public. Grenada, as I indicated, is now signatory to the Basel Convention, in which we are trying to coordinate to remove dangerous goods from the state. Hence, that would provide some sort of relief in reducing risk to our population. We do not have any recycling facilities here like the developed world, but we are seeking to get this stuff out to those recycling facilities. Okay. All right, because waste oil is something when we do our assessment, waste oil is dumped indiscriminately all over the environment. from garages, personal use, all over, in drains, in water bodies, and so on. And as I'm touching on that, what I have observed, some new developments, is that truckers who are given jobs to take their waste to Perseverance by an individual, they are looking at those remote areas and they are doing a lot of illegal dumping. I just want to bring one to four. Last Messieurs, or in St. David's, Bacolet Point, we took a drive in there yesterday, and you can see the amount of stuff people are putting there. Old vehicle, mattresses, coconut shells, and this is something we want to bring. We will be visiting all those coconut vendors. We'll be registering them, and we already had a discussion with Grenada Solid Waste Authority. We have identified hotspots where people are doing illegal dumping. It is a cost to the state to clean up after your mess, right? Most times we don't get information from the public because they're not coming forward. They do not release names. However, we do get some, and we get those individuals, we get their truck numbers and so on, contact from the licensing department, and we contact them to get it cleaned up. All right? So this is something I want to appeal to those persons. There is a procedure. If you know that you're giving a trucker a job, you can notify the Solid Waste Authority that I am sending some, construction waste to the landfill. Solid Waste will notify the landfill of the truck and their number. If they don't go there, then they went somewhere else. Then we can, take action against those individuals. So in that, I would want to summarize and say that there are many public health risks associated with our own actions. And I'm appealing to citizens. We know what is right. We know what is right. Let us do what is right to ensure we safeguard the health of our population. Thanks.
Thank you. Minister Williams, any final summary of that?
Well, I just want to use this opportunity to thank the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Ministry of Infrastructure. And I want to personally thank Mr. Ram. I want to thank Mrs. Baker, Mrs. Akisa Charles, Ms. Nicole Clark, King D. James, the whole MIT team, Solid Waste team, the RGPF for their support also. I want to thank everyone because you may see probably the minister in front and so on, think it's the minister that's doing it, but it's a team, and I want to actually thank the team. Today, after I leave here, we'll be making some visit. I'll be visiting the same area that the lady spoke about by the Paradise Bridge. Yes. Yeah. I will go and look at it immediately, and that's the thing with us. We don't waste time, right? We get it done. So you just spoke about the bridge. We are going to look at it one time, and we're going to look at we have some issues with Loreto, the Grenville bus terminal, the market in St. George's, the market in Grenville, And I know when we enter into the market space and so on, the street vending, we know GT, they will have the backlash and the cussing and Andy this and Andy that. But guess what? It's a sacrifice we have to make. As the caller say, we have to have the balls to do it. And this administration have shown that we have the balls. And it's something that we will tackle. And so I just want to ask everyone to give their support because at the end of the day, it's for the good of the country. And we want to see the country move forward and progress in a nice, clean, safe manner. Thank you.
I want to thank you both, Mr. Williams and Mr. Ram. I want to thank you both for being here this morning. Of course, we have been haven't ever extended the program this long, but we just had to do just to get the information out this morning. So thank you once again to all the viewers and listeners this morning. You can join us for another edition of To The Point tomorrow. Have yourself a good one. As I always say, be good to yourself and others. Have yourself a great day.